Hello, it's the Sinister here with a new video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the last mission from Lester for my Contact Mission content series on the Lester mission, specifically for part 6 or whatever, like the 6th episode that is. So, the last mission here is Stalks and Scares. By the way, apologies for the inconvenience that this last mission's on part 3. I only intended for 2 parts originally, but it turns out even though I've seen things on like my editor that mention things about like 80 minutes, you really only get 60 minutes before it decides not to want to render, so apologies for that. But anyways, Stalks and Scares. The minimum rank requirement in order to host is rank 70. It's a 1 to 4 player mission. The RP reward on hard, no modifiers. It's actually the second highest, I believe, of all of the contact missions. The one that has the highest RP reward on hard, no modifiers is 4 trailers, which I believe I covered on part 2. But anyways, the money reward on hard, no modifiers, 16 plus minutes, is $22,200. So Doxa stock has the same amount as well. That's because their rank requirement in order to host, the minimum rank requirement in order to host is the same thing. But yeah, now let's see if there's any fun facts or trivia or anything like that. By the way, I recommend the Deluxe though, because I believe you will need more than 20 missiles. Plus, of course, it has really accurate missiles. It can hover and fly, of course, and plus it can go on the water as well, which is kind of important for this one actually, in case you need to make an emergency escape and somehow like your vehicle gets out of flight mode if you like accidentally press X button or anything like that. So it's good in multiple regards to use the Deluxe over this mission, in my personal opinion. That's what I did. Plus, you can block the staircase, and it will hopefully not have enemies spawn against you, because this is a mission actually with infinitely respawning enemies, which I'll get into in more details in a little bit. But yeah, I'll be going into the trivia now. The mission's name is a play on the term Stalks and Shares, apparently. And then the mission was taken offline in the 1.15 update due to a glitch involving hacking, just like a mission I talked about in part 2 being called Hack and Dash. That also suffered through the same thing. But yeah, it also affects Richmond and Richmond, Hack and Dash like I mentioned, and then Camera Call Extraction, which I believe that one might be a removed mission, or a free mode co-op one. All of which were taken offline as well. All 4 missions were reintroduced to online mode in the 1.16 update, of course. And the 1.13 patch caused this mission and a few other missions to continuously spawn enemies. So by the way, the enemies that infinitely respawn, they weren't always like that. It was added with the 1.13 update, probably back in like 2014 or something. But yeah, that's why there's infinitely respawning enemies, because they literally updated the mission to have infinitely respawning enemies years back. Which of course can make it nearly impossible to complete the mission without the help of other players. That's what it says on GTA Wiki, but I think it kind of depends on the mission. This one's not that hard of one, I feel, with the infinitely respawning enemies. It's pretty easy, I feel, because it's kind of in an interior, of course. Like a separate interior from where like most of the enemies are, to hack the safe, in my opinion, compared to other hacking missions like this. But yeah, it is however possible to block the southeast entrance with a vehicle to prevent enemies from entering the warehouse, which I believe is exactly what I did. I don't know if I placed it differently or whatever, but I don't know, I don't think it helped me too much from what I remember. I'm not entirely too sure though. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that mission there. Now to wrap this up, of course, what do I think of Lester contact missions and how good of a contact is he and stuff like that? I think personally it might have been down to like this or a titan of a job, maybe even like quarry for a couple of my like top 3 missions I did on this. Of course, like the 3 top missions that gave me like the most money and took like the most time and stuff. So I would concentrate on those missions if you're looking to get a lot of money. However, Lester is kind of a bad contact in a couple of ways, even though he's one of the best ones, I would say. I would say him, Martin, and like Trevor are like the top 3 contacts, no doubt on that, of course. Because they all have missions that have like a rank 70 requirement minimum in order to host, meaning they pay better than other missions. Martin Madrazo, by the way, will go like above rank 70 minimum in order to host, so he will have missions that will give more money than Trevor and Lester missions. The last ones you unlock for those contacts. But yeah, it's also a big downer that you can't use the Lester services on his missions. I understand it makes sense because like you're working for him. I think in that regard it does make sense that you can't use his services when you're literally working for him. But at the same time, every other like string of contact missions pretty much allows you to use the Lester services, so it's a big downgrade compared to other contact mission things. Like any other contact, even like casino work missions and stuff like that from recent times and stuff, I feel like all of that kind of stuff lets you call off the cops. I don't know, most missions aside for these, all of these Lester ones let you call off the cops basically. Though yeah, it is good and bad, because for one, of course, it will make you spend more time actually having to lose the cops instead of calling Lester to be able to lose the cops like instantly. So it is kind of good for making money. However, there is a Martin mission, like a very particular Martin mission that gives you like extra money in addition to like the normal money from the mission, which of course will be in the next part of the or next episode of contact mission content. So yeah, even with having to spend more time with the cops, it's not even going to really be that worth it, I feel, because there's other long missions for other contacts, I'm sure, anyways, of being able to call off cops. And then the big reason I would recommend Lester in any way is because his missions, he has the most missions that have to be done in a group. So if you're doing a lot of missions with a friend, I definitely do recommend Lester out of all the contacts. Unless you're doing dispatch missions, then I do recommend Martin Madrazo over Lester. So I would say in some ways Lester is the worst contact in the game, in a sense, because he can't call off cops with his services or whatever. But at the same time, he's the best contact, no doubt, for when you're playing missions with a group, unless you're playing dispatch services or something like that. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed.